Hi friends, this is Carmen. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. Hope you enjoy this video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my Euphorbia collection. And it's getting bigger by the day, so stay tuned for that. Okay friends, the first Euphorbia that I'm going to show you in my collection is this Euphorbia Mili, more commonly known as the Tanzanian zipper plant. And I haven't had this one too long, probably about 3-4 months now, but I just love its compactness and the little clumps of pups that it gives out. Now eventually I would like it to really just fill out this whole pot here, this whole bowl with these little pups. And these you can easily propagate by just twisting them off and putting them in their own pot, and they're more than likely have roots down there and they're connected to the mother plant. But these are very easily propagated and a great plant to have in your Euphorbia collection. The next one I'm going to share with you is this Indian corn cob, or more commonly known as Euphorbia Mamillaria, and it's variegated, as you can see. Now this one I originally got in the clearance section at Lowe's, and it wasn't looking too good. I have since cut off some pieces and propagated them, some pups, and given them to my son. But this year, this summer, this plant has given up a lot of little arms here. Some of them are looking better than others. I think, you know, if it had the right lighting conditions, as far as a little bit more morning sun and less afternoon sun, it would do better. But it's doing okay for a plant that came from the clearance section. And you do need to be careful, not only because of the sap on this plant, as all euphorbias, but as you can see, it has these little thorns on it. So you do need to be careful of those too. But it's a really unique plant to have and very easy to propagate. And it does well outside. That's one thing that I love about the euphorbias, is that they do so well outside in my balcony in the heat. Sometimes it gets too much sun. I've been trying to cover them with an umbrella, but even then it hangs in there. So I think euphorbias and aloes have to be the most resilient succulents that I've come across as far as doing well in very hot climates and in the sun. Definitely recommend them if you have those conditions. Now, they don't like freezing temperatures, so if it gets down below 40, I will cover them up. That's what I did last winter, is I used a sheet, a bed sheet, and I covered them up whenever the temperature got below 40 degrees. And that saved them fine. They had no problems with that. Or you can bring them inside. So this is the Indian corn cob, Euphorbia Mamillaria variegated. Now I'm going to share with you a couple of my favorite euphorbias, and that is the crown of thorns, Euphorbia Mili. I have a couple of different types. The first one here is the more bushy type. This one has flowered for me. It has little white flowers, and it's very bushy. It's young. This plant can't be more than maybe a couple years old, but it has a really good central stem in the center there, and it has a lot of branches going off of it. It's kind of coming back from a hard summer as far as, again, the heat. You can see it's got a lot of new growth in the center there, and I've taken off a lot of the little leaves that were either sunburned or were ready to come off. And with these, you do need to be careful. The sap will even seep out when you take off the leaves also, so you do need to be careful about that. Then when you take a leaf off, down where it was connected, it will seep some of that white sap. So be careful about that. But this one does so well. It flowered in the spring brilliantly, covered in little white flowers, and it just does really well in this pot. One of my most resilient and wonderful plants. Let me show you the next Euphorbia Mili that I have. Okay, this is my second crown of thorns, Euphorbia Mili, and this one is more of the straight stalk variety that has growth coming off of the main stem there, not a bushy variety. And this one is getting a lot of new growth, a little branch there, and around the back also it's getting another branch. And the flowers on these last forever. These flowers here, or this plant, has been blooming since spring, and the flowers last for weeks, fall off, and then as you can see, it's already getting new ones. And they're just a beautiful, oh, I don't know how you even describe this color. It's like an orangey pink. See if I can get it to focus here. Orangey pink with some yellow mixed in there. But they start off, as you can see, green, and then they change colors. The leaves also have changed colors. They start off green, and as they age, they become this yellow. Sometimes they can get some sun damage. And it's actually got a little bit of dirt there. We had a really bad dust storm this past week. I tried to clean these up before I showed you, but it was a really bad dust storm. But again, these plants just do so well in extreme heat. It's even getting a flower down here off of this new branch and coming out at the bottom there. And it's planted in this jug. This jug I found at Goodwill. It looked like it was a project that somebody did during pottery class or something. I drilled a hole down at the bottom, and this Euphorbia has been living in it for the past year. This Euphorbia I obtained through Etsy. I'll leave a link down below to her Etsy shop. She had some really good plants, and I would definitely recommend her. This came as just a little stalk. It's a little guy with maybe 3 leaves on it, and it has just taken off in the last year. So it's one of my favorites. Beautiful, beautiful plant. Okay, this Euphorbia you've probably seen. I did a whole video on this one. This is the Euphorbia Sticks on Fire. And this is also another one that's so tough in hot climates, direct hot sun. And it's so easy to propagate too. This one here actually came from one that I had at my old house that was in the ground. I cut some pieces from it, which that one came from my mom. So this is like 3rd generation, I guess, but I have some other cuttings in pots in my balcony that I have taken off of this plant also. Again, so easy to propagate and put into succulent containers and dishes. Wonderful plant. Gets a brilliant, brilliant color. Some of the new growth there is getting that red color when it's exposed to sun and heat. It does so well, and it changes in that color. This also can be an excellent indoor plant. It can adjust to indoor climates and lighting. The only thing is that it will not get that yellow orange. It will stay a green. This one here is another one of my favorites. I say they're all my favorites, but it's true. I just love this species of plant, these euphorbias. This one here is a Euphorbia Lactea variegated, and more commonly known as dragon bones. I purchased this one in this Talavera pot already potted, and they were about this size, maybe about 4 or 5 inches, with no branches, and that was about that was in March, so that was about 6 months ago. And look at it now. It's just so wonderful. It's got these wonderful arms that it's grown in the last few months, and it still has evidence of growth too, that it's still going to be growing some more. This one does have some little thorns on it, so you need to be careful of those, and watch out for them because they can poke, but you just leave it alone and it will do its job as far as growing. And this does get direct sun for a portion of the day, so it can take direct sun for a portion of the day also. Okay, for this one I had to come out because it is in a planter that's just a little too heavy, a little too big for me to bring in, but this is my Euphorbia Trigona Rubra. And this plant, I believe I also got it on Etsy, and it was just two very small little stalks, about 5-6 inches, and they've grown so much that I have since propagated them and cut the top off, and now it's growing these branches with these brilliant red leaves on them, and it's doing really well in this pot. This is water it about once a week, and the leaves also will tell you if it's a little too dry, because the leaves will dry and shrivel up, so that's one way to tell plants also. Thanks so much, friends, for watching this video. I hope it was informative for you and it inspired you to add to your collection of euphorbia. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do. I have weekly videos coming out sharing tips on succulents and houseplants, and we can learn from each other. Thanks so much for watching, friends. Have a blessed day.